Li Miaojin ignored Su Su's whimpering and directly put her back into the wine jug, then closed the lid and said to Su Qian, "Many thanks to Lord Su for your magnanimity. I owe you a favor now. If you have any requests in the future, just let me know." Su Qian smiled and replied, "Generally, you're too kind." At the same time, he thought to himself, a promise from number 2 is really valuable. Trading something I can't keep for long for a promise, that's a huge win. He walked Li Miaojin out and then asked somewhat insistently, "With your status and cultivation, General Li, you shouldn't have any shortage of spirits, right?" Li Miaojin glanced back at him. Spirits are not ordinary ghosts. They must be young women who died as virgins to be refined into spirits. Su Qian broke into a light sweat at her words, but pretended to understand. Suddenly, Li Miaojin's tone shifted. "Even if you raise a dog, you can get attached to it, right?" This time, Su Qian understood her words, but only smiled without commenting. Li Miaojin then said, "Lord Su, could you accompany me a bit further?" Su Qian had intended to do so anyway, especially since his 2 little brothers needed time to recover. So without turning back, he continued to escort Li Miaojin. They walked on in silence, neither speaking first. And the atmosphere grew awkward. Su Qian stole a glance at her. Her beauty and temperament reminded him of a police academy crush from his younger days. But of course, his behavior didn't go unnoticed. Li Miaojin said coolly, "Lord Su, we Jianghu folk are free-spirited, but I'm still a girl, and staring at me like that is impolite." As she spoke, she thought to herself, "This dog of a man is definitely a lecher." Su Qian forced a laugh. It seemed his reputation as a lecher would be hard to shake. "It's all Feng Ping's fault," Su Qian thought. Keeping his smile, he said, "General Li reminds me of someone I once knew. A familiar face." Li Miaojin clearly didn't want to continue the topic. "This white emperor city is so full of blossoms, but you must have seen plenty of desolate sights while traveling with the circuit inspector, Lord Su." Su Qian nodded. There was no way to argue or explain. It was just a fact. The celestial maiden continued. "Usually, the governor's office in Izhou oversees 20 to 30 garrisons, but in Yunzhou, there are only 15 under its command. Do you know why? Because Yunzhou is sparsely populated and plagued by bandits, making large-scale troop deployment impossible. Without soldiers, how can bandits be suppressed?" Su Qian considered, recalling that under the military system, each state office of the governor set up commissions. Each commission comprised about 5,600 soldiers, and counties beneath them established garrisons. Each garrison had around 1,100 men. With only 15 garrisons, the situation was far from ideal. Especially in Yunzhou's bandit-ridden areas, the number of garrisons should have exceeded 25 to meet standard military strength. Su Qian said, "Couldn't they just cultivate fertile fields? The troops could farm during peacetime and sustain themselves." Li Miaojin countered. "And what about soldiers' pay? How would that be handled?" Su Qian was stunned. Soldiers required pay, and it wasn't enough to simply have food. The more soldiers there were, the higher the costs. Without sufficient pay, troops would inevitably cause unrest. He clasped his hands in a bow and said humbly, "I'm ashamed." Li Miaojin was not particularly concerned. "I've been in Yunzhou for over a year, working with Governor Yang Chuan to suppress bandits more than 20 times. Each time he gave his all. I don't believe someone like him would collude with bandits. You, Lord Su, are a key figure in this investigation. Your stance will influence the circuit inspectors. I hope you handle this matter carefully." Su Qian feigned surprise and said, "General Li, you've overestimated me. I'm just a low-ranking official." Li Miaojin came straight to the point. "I've looked into you, Lord Su. I consider myself fairly familiar with your background." She added silently, "For example, your knowledge of Chang'an and your frequent outings with courtesans from the brocade guard." As her thoughts wandered, the celestial maiden continued, "Lord Su, you seem to have a cousin studying at Yunlu Academy." Su Qian said nothing, only smiling. It seems number 2 is suspicious of number 3's identity, he thought. She suspects Erlang is the well-meaning scholar. Number 3. Maybe I should use this chance to deepen her misunderstanding. Erlang's at the academy, while number 2 is in Yunzhou, miles apart. I can leverage Erlang's reputation to gain number 2's trust. My own identity can't be revealed. The consequences of social disgrace are too dire." Su Qian replied with a smile. "Yes, he's an enthusiastic scholar, highly regarded by Yunlu Academy's senior scholars. I hear they're grooming him as an heir to the Academy's teachings." Li Miaojin opened her mouth slightly in surprise. An heir to the Academy? No wonder. No wonder number 3 knows so much about the Academy's layout, so much. Thinking she had pieced it all together, Li Miaojin felt a mix of emotions. Lord Su is also passionate, with a heroic spirit. Su Qian silently noted her changing attitude. It seems she's warming up to me now. If I dropped some heartfelt words now, her goodwill toward me might skyrocket. After exchanging a few more words, they parted ways. One continued forward, the other turned back. Li Miaojin sought out a quiet alley, pulled out the wine jug, and released Su Su. Then she summoned a paper effigy to serve as a replacement body. As soon as Su appeared, she put on a pitiful face. Li Miaojin ignored her. Instead, she asked directly, "What did you tell him?" Su awkwardly chuckled. "Just a little bit." "How much is a little bit?" Li Miaojin pressed. Feeling guilty, Su replied, "Not much. Just your identity, age, cultivation level, and your experience leaving the mountain." Li Miaojin's face darkened instantly. "That's everything," Su replied confidently. "At least I didn't tell him the date of your bath." Meanwhile at the inn, Zhu Guangxiao and Song Tingfeng started arguing again. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Well, you didn't say anything about Su either." After that, they turned to Su Qian and Ning Yin. "You knew about Su's identity all along, didn't you? Why didn't you tell us?" Su Qian smirked and said, "You're the ones who told me to keep it a secret." The pair immediately fell silent. "So, everything that happened with Su at the tea house? It was all in your imagination," Su Qian answered matter-of-factly. Oddly enough, both of them let out a sigh of relief. "It was just an illusion." "That's fine then. I must have been bewitched and passed out." Su Qian smiled slyly and added, "You were under an illusion, but you didn't pass out." With that, he moved to a pillar, hugged it suggestively, and mimicked exaggerated movements. "Guangxiao, you look just like this." Then he moved to the table, placed his hands on its edges, and mimicked another scene. "Tingfeng, you were like this." The embarrassing memories, their shame reaching its peak, they immediately crawled under the table. "Su Ningyin, get lost. Go away, please, just leave. I don't want to see you today." Su Qian, feeling content, walked away in high spirits. "I should be under the carriage, not inside it, seeing how sweet you two were." He sang a few lines and smiled. "Our friendship," Su Qian began, "isn't something a mere ghost can shake. At worst, I'll take you back to the brocade guard in the capital." Song Tingfeng scoffed. "Brocade guard outings won't buy me and Guangxiao off." Su Qian's grin widened. "Twice then?" The two brothers remained unmoved. "Go away. Don't talk to me." Su Qian gritted his teeth. 5 times. The brothers finally turned their heads, but they insisted that Su Qian put it in writing, and also swear not to reveal anything about Su the ghost, use it to mock them. Su Qian managed to hold back his laughter and agreed. But before he could finish speaking, he burst out laughing. Song Tingfeng's face darkened. "What's so funny?" Su Qian put on a serious face. "I wasn't laughing. I've been trained not to laugh, no matter how funny something is, as long as a warrior can't sense it, nor see a ghost. Keeping a safe distance ensures it won't be noticed." So for the past few days, Li Miaojin had sent Su to keep an eye on the 3 thugs. Outside the White Emperor City's military camp, Li Miaojin casually asked, "Did you find anything at the inn?" Su replied. Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao spent most of their time at the inn. Sometimes they'd get tired of the inn's food and go out to a restaurant. They always went together. Su Qian wasn't with them. He acted alone. Every time he left, he went to the brothel. Almost every day, he spent an hour there before returning to the inn. He didn't visit any government offices, nor did he investigate Zhou Ming's case. Li Miaojin snorted to herself. Same. How is he so different from his cousin? Su continued. Also, Zhou Ming's confidence belongings show signs of being tampered with. From the timeline, it appears to have happened on the day the circuit inspector's team arrived in White Emperor City. Li Miaojin took a deep breath. Li Miaojin continued asking, "Anything else unusual?" Su hesitated, thinking, "Unusual? Does Su Qian picking up silver every day count as unusual?" "Wait, no. The master must mean things related to Zhou Ming's case." Shaking her head, she answered, "No, nothing." They seemed to be waiting for the circuit inspector's return to continue investigating Zhou Ming's case. Hearing this, Li Miaojin fell into deep thought, but she had no leads for now, so she let it go. She then took a porcelain bottle from her robe, removed the stopper, and summoned a ghost residing within. It appeared as an elderly scholar. Li Miaojin gave a faint command. "Write this down. According to our internal intelligence, Su Qian is highly skilled and experienced at solving cases. If he had any real leads, or a clear direction, he wouldn't be idling at the inn for so many days. The longer the case drags on, the fewer clues remain. This means that even Su Qian is at a dead end." Soon the letter was finished. Li Miaojin handed it to Su and instructed her to deliver it to Yang Chuannan. Su left the tent, swaying her hips, but then turned back. "Master, aren't you going to avenge me? That scoundrel humiliated me." Li Miaojin shrugged. "He only locked you up for a day." Seeing that her plea was rejected, Su pouted and left. Meanwhile, around White Emperor City, at the largest restaurant in Qingping County, the last stop on the circuit inspector's tour, Zhang the circuit inspector took the opportunity to erupt in fury. He lambasted the officials, calling them spineless sycophants. "You allowed the bandit problem to fester and spread, bringing poverty and decline to Yunzhou." An embarrassed official stammered, "Sir, your words fill me with shame." Zhang snorted coldly. According to our intelligence, the bandits in Yunzhou are secretly supported by someone. Some people have chosen the path of a military officer, but are engaging in treasonous activities instead. The officials exchanged subtle glances in the direction of Commander Yang Chuannan. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. A soldier entered. He was a confidant of Yang Chuannan. After handing a secret letter to Yang Chuannan, he turned and left. Yang Chuannan opened the envelope, read it, and his previously stern expression suddenly turned into a smile. He then laughed and said, "I, too, support the circuit inspector's decision. We must investigate thoroughly. No leniency. With so many capable people under the circuit inspector's command, I'm sure we'll soon get to the bottom of this." Inspector Zhang was bewildered. He wondered what was written in that letter. To suddenly boost Yang Chuannan's confidence, the gathering quickly came to an end. On the way back to White Emperor City, Inspector Zhang mused aloud. "I have a bad feeling." Zhang Luzhong frowned and asked, "Is it because Yang Chuannan suddenly became so confident?" Inspector Zhang nodded. This inspection tour was meant to lay the groundwork and test the waters. Its purpose was to isolate Yang Chuannan within Yunzhou's bureaucracy and to prepare for his removal. If Yunzhou's officials were united, I'd need to carefully adjust my plans. If they weren't, I'd work to isolate Yang Chuannan and gain the support of the Yunzhou officials. Initially, I was quite confident. At the banquet upon my arrival in Yunzhou, Song's deputy minister subtly hinted at their willingness to support me. Everything was progressing smoothly. Over the past few days, with Song's cooperation, I've sent out signals that we intend to target Yang Chuannan. This has pressured the officials to pick sides. But after receiving that letter, Yang Chuannan suddenly grew confident, no longer silent, and even joked with me. I have no idea what backing he's gained. Zhang Luzhong responded. Regardless, as long as the inspector resolves the political issues, I can handle the military matters, and Su Qian is handling the investigation. Inspector Zhang nodded reluctantly. Let's hope Su Qian can unravel the mystery soon and find the evidence left by Zhou Ming. Back at the inn, as Inspector Zhang stepped out of the carriage, he was greeted by the three notorious thugs. Normally, this wouldn't have been noteworthy, but upon seeing Su Qian's state, both men were stunned. Su Qian's eyes were bloodshot, and his dark circles were not just dark, they were blackish blue. He looked as if he might ascend to the heavens at any moment. Zhang Luzhong strode forward and asked, "How many days?" Su Qian weakly replied, "The 15th day." Old Zhang sucked in a sharp breath. "How are you holding up?" Su Qian chuckled hoarsely. "Not bad, I guess. Just ready to pass away at any moment." Zhang Luzhong studied Su Qian intently, realizing he hadn't hit his limit. This kid's spiritual potential is this vast. When he ascends to the spirit refinement stage, his soul will advance by leaps and bounds. Spirit refinement martial artists' minds grow incredibly sharp. They can't be caught off guard, not even by the faintest hint of hostility. They're nearly impossible to ambush when spirit, energy, and vitality converge, each enhancing the other. Their combat power rises significantly. At that moment, Inspector Zhang asked, "Any leads on Zhou Ming's cipher?" Su Qian weakly answered, "I've got the ledger." Inspector Zhang almost reflexively said, "Don't lose hope. You'll crack it eventually." But in the next instant, his eyes widened. "You cracked it?" For a case as grim and difficult as Zhou Ming's, the cipher had been the only clue. Inspector Zhang had resigned himself to a protracted struggle, but now, he hadn't even begun the long battle, and the evidence was already in hand. This signaled that the Yunzhou mission was nearing its conclusion, and that Yang Chuannan was finished. Inspector Zhang took a deep breath, studying Su Qian carefully. He couldn't help but be impressed. This boy is destined for greatness. Zhang Luzhong had the same thought, his expression full of fatherly pride. It was as if his face was saying, "My son Su Qian is destined for greatness." As the night wore on, after they had finished tidying everything up, Su Qian was summoned to Inspector Zhang's room. He promptly produced the items he had acquired. Inspector Zhang eagerly took them, quickly glancing through the contents, and then exclaimed angrily, "This is outrageous. The amount is so enormous. Yang Chuannan truly deserves death." Su Qian's eyes lit up. The inspector is truly a scholar. "It took me ages to make sense of the ledger." With an admiring tone, he asked, "Such a massive amount. How much, exactly?" Inspector Zhang seemed not to hear, repeating the words outrageous to himself. Su Qian thought he understood. The meaning is clear. The amount is enormous. But don't ask, it's just outrageous. Inspector Zhang cleared his throat and asked, "How did you crack the code?" Su Qian smiled smugly. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, he explained the process in detail. In fact, Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao also played a crucial role. They not only participated actively in decoding, but even set aside personal dignity for the cause. Their sacrifice was moving. Zhang Luzhong frowned. The Wuxian sect is skilled at controlling ghosts. It seems someone from the Wuxian sect, hiding in White Emperor City. Su Qian didn't argue. He thought it reasonable to let the Wuxian sect take the blame. Dropping his smile, he asked, "Inspector, what's your next step?" Inspector Zhang grinned slyly. He chuckled a few times, then suddenly declared, "Act quickly." But as soon as he finished speaking, he patted his stomach and changed his tone. "No rush, let's eat first." Despite his earlier urgency, Inspector Zhang decided to wait until after dinner to take action. He summoned Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao. "I heard from Lin Yin," he said, "that you two made a great contribution to this case." Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao were touched by his words. They were taken aback when they realized Su Qian had spoken up for them in front of the inspector. The two brothers exchanged a look. Merit awards were a big deal. Not only did they mean possible promotions, but after the Yunzhou mission, the court would offer rewards based on individual contributions, and those rewards could be substantial. This act of generosity by Su Qian deeply moved his two younger brothers. What a good brother he was. Song Tingfeng gave a big smile, offering a flattering response. "This was our duty, sir, to share your burdens, and to serve the court with. That's what we live for." Inspector Zhang asked with concern. Lin Yin said that during the investigation, you confronted lingering spirits that tried to obstruct the case, making great sacrifices. Is this true? The two younger brothers' faces immediately froze. Their expressions turned stiff. They exchanged nervous glances, as if silently accusing Su Qian of selling them out. Inspector Zhang frowned. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Song Tingfeng forced a laugh. "It was nothing worth troubling you about, sir." Inspector Zhang shook his head. "Once this is over, I'll submit a report to the court. Everyone's contributions will be recorded, and rewards will be distributed accordingly." The brothers had no choice but to laugh awkwardly. "Inspector, it's not that we don't want to explain. It's just that our spirits were harmed by the wraiths, leaving us a bit disoriented. We can't recall all the details." Inspector Zhang decided not to press further. After all, Su Qian's testimony assured them the credit would remain intact. After dinner, Jiang Luzhong and Inspector Zhang led a troop of 100 to march on the commandery office. Fully armed with swords, spears, shields, and even torches, their aim was to catch their opponents off guard, to deliver a shock to Yunzhou's bureaucracy. Jiang Luzhong dismounted and quickly approached the commandery gate. After a slight crouch to gather his strength, he delivered a punch. With a loud boom, the heavy door instantly shattered, splintered wood flying everywhere. The night watchman surged inside, shouting, "In the name of the inspector, anyone who obstructs justice will be executed." However, the commandery office also had skilled fighters. They quickly engaged the silver gong, but the night watchman moved too quickly. Anyone who rushed forward was struck down first. They couldn't hold their ground. Within just a few breaths' time, the defenders were forced into. Suddenly, the study door slammed open. Yang Chuan flew out. He shouted, "What's going on here?" Seeing the chaos, he swung his blade at whoever approached, but as soon as he realized who he was attacking, he faltered. His mind reeled in confusion. At that moment, Jiang Luzhong let out a cold snort and stepped forward. He extended a hand toward Yang Chuannan. A powerful force suddenly enveloped Yang Chuannan, freezing his movements. As Jiang Luzhong clenched his fist, the immense force pulled Yang Chuannan toward him. Seizing the moment, Jiang struck Yang Chuannan square in the chest with a punch. The sound echoed like a drumbeat. Everyone saw Yang Chuannan hurl back like a cannonball. He smashed into a flower bed, leveling it before coming to a stop. Even his iron-like body couldn't withstand it. He coughed twice and spat out blood. The guards in the residence gripped their blades tightly, ready to fight to the death against the intruders. But then Yang Chuannan's weak voice called out, "Hold! Inspector Zhang has arrived." Seeing the disheveled commandery officer, Inspector Zhang calmly said, "Mr. Yang, control your men." Yang Chuannan laughed bitterly. "I'm still a second-rank official. Rushing into my residence in the dead of night, drawing weapons, isn't this excessive, Inspector?" Inspector Zhang replied calmly, "Let me make myself perfectly clear. I have Zhou Ming's ledger in my hands now," said Inspector Zhang. Yang Chuannan's eyes widened. "That's impossible." Inspector Zhang sneered. "Master Yang, come with me to the inn, and you'll find out soon enough. Take away anyone who tries to interfere and execute them on the spot." The guards stepped forward as if prepared to fight to the death. They gritted their teeth, ready for a desperate stand. But Yang Chuannan barked at them to stand down. "Obstructing an inspector is a capital offense. Do not waste your lives needlessly. The night watchmen are merciless, and the Golden Gong's combat prowess is beyond question." At once, the Tiger Guard stepped forward with shackles and restrained Yang Chuannan, marching him out of the mansion. A force of over 130 men, who came swiftly and left just as quickly, departed from the commandery officer's residence. Outside White Emperor City, Li Miaozhen's voice rang out in shock. "What?" The night watchman stormed Yang's residence at night and arrested the commandery officer? She stared at the ghost who had come to report. This ghost was her informant inside Yang Chuannan's household, rotated every 3 days. Su chimed in with a coquettish tone. "The inspector is really bold, isn't he? Arresting someone without evidence? Sure, He's the highest official in White Emperor City right now, but to take down someone like Master Yang without proof? Master, Su suggested, just muster 3,000 troops and challenge him in court. Hang that coppergong named Su on the city gate of White Emperor City. Li Miaojin shot her a sharp look. You have a point, she said. I'll appoint you as the vanguard for the charge. Su's head immediately shrank back. She forced a polite yet awkward laugh. Maybe we should stick to the Great Feng's laws. But the general of the beauties didn't seem pleased. Get out of my sight, she snapped. Pouting, Su swayed her hips as she left the tent. But the next moment, Li Miaojin called her back. Su turned back, her beautiful face lighting up with a sweet smile. Master, are you finally going to take out that copper gong? Li Miaojin ignored the question and instead asked, are you certain that Su Qian hasn't secretly investigated and found evidence? Su quickly shook her head. I only kept an eye on Su Qian and then his two colleagues. I didn't pay attention to the other night watchmen. Li Miaojin nodded helplessly. As long as Su Qian isn't secretly investigating, the others can be ignored. Whether or not he noticed Su's tracking doesn't matter. Then, she continued, what is the inspector's reason for capturing Yang Chuan-nan? Attempting to resolve it through violence? Forcing a confession under torture? Unlikely. A dignified inspector wouldn't resort to such lawless actions. With this thought, Li Miaojin ordered, come. A guard stationed outside her tent answered and entered. Li Miaojin gave clear instructions. Ready the troops. We'll enter the city at dawn. She then turned to Su. You'll come with me into the city tonight. I need to meet with the inspector. In the inn's chamber, Inspector Zhang sternly confronted Yang Chuan-nan. You colluded with the former Ministry of Works minister's faction and the Wuxin sect, secretly supporting bandits and supplying them with military goods. What exactly are you planning? Yang Chuan-nan replied coldly, if you want to frame me, any excuse will do. Su Qian looked at him calmly. Master Yang, there's no need for such grand statements. Yang Chuan-nan stared intently at him. The second day after the inspector's arrival in Yunzhou, Li Miaojin had informed him that a man named Su Qian was part of the inspector's team and an important figure in this mission. But he never expected that before he could make any countermove, this junior official would seal his fate in advance. Yang Chuan-nan locked his gaze on Su Qian. You found Zhou Ming's ledger? Su Qian admitted freely. I did. Yang Chuan-nan shook his head, laughing bitterly. Truly a young hero. When Miaojin spoke of you, I didn't take you lightly, but I still underestimated you. Inwardly, Inspector Zhang silently agreed. It wasn't just you. I didn't expect it either. Su Qian's investigative skills were unexpected. Suddenly, Yang Chuan, he looked at Su Qian and asked, are you attempting to break through to the spiritual refining stage? Su Qian calmly nodded. This man, a proper commandery officer, seemed more perceptive than that woman from Unit 2. I'm cultivating honestly, and yet she accuses me of being some lustful hedonist, he thought, before speaking up. Master Yang, you're part of the faction, correct? The two idle superiors kept silent, tacitly agreeing that Su Qian should handle the questioning. Yang Chuan-nan sighed. My father was indeed one of them. Back when he served in the Ministry of War, he was brought into the fold by a vice minister. That's how he became a member. Su Qian was puzzled. What does he mean? He looked over at Inspector Zhang for an explanation. Inspector Zhang explained, the faction is a political group formed by our adversaries. During Yang Chuan-nan's father's time, the faction controlled the Ministry of War. That was decades ago. Yang Chuan-nan picked up where Inspector Zhang left off. My father was always a marginal figure in the faction, and so am I. After being reassigned to Yunzhou, I spent over a decade earning military merits, slowly climbing to my current position. Admittedly, some of my promotions were due to the faction's influence at court, but I was never close to them. Apart from occasional visits to the capital, we have little interaction. The distance between Yunzhou and the capital is vast. It's just a faint connection maintained. Inspector Zhang nodded at Su Qian. Yang Chuan-nan rose through the ranks on the strength of his battlefield achievements. This makes the accusation of insubordination more credible, as it aligns with the Night Watch's assessment of him. Suddenly, Yang Chuan-nan became agitated. But to claim that I supplied the faction with military goods, colluding with the Wuxin sect, that's a baseless accusation. I am the commandery officer here. Is there anyone in Yunzhou higher ranking than me? I hold no contempt for the court. If not for wanting to do something for the people of Yunzhou, Yang Chuan-nan declared, I would have asked to be transferred out of this wretched place long ago. Su Qian thought to himself. That's quite the noble statement. Sounds just like the dialogue from the movies I watched. It was the classic setup for self-exoneration. Su Qian didn't believe a word of it. The only thing he trusted was solid evidence. Inspector Zhang pressed. What does Lord Yang think? Is there another force behind this? Yang Chuan-nan grew agitated. Inspector Zhang, do you think I'm the only member of the faction in Yunzhou? The faction's collusion with the Wuxin sect to supply the bandits. Must it all be pinned on me? Am I really the only faction member in the entire commandery office? Inspector Zhang shook his head. Commandery officer, you're seeing it too narrowly. Yang Chuan-nan clenched his teeth, unsure of what else to say. As the commandery officer, He bore the greatest responsibility for the office's military supplies aiding the bandits. The blame ultimately fell on him, the top-ranking official. Su Qian said meaningfully, Lord Yang, it seems there's a traitor among you. Yang Chuanin knew that Su Qian didn't trust him. After a pause, he continued, the faction indeed did such things, but I only learned of the full scope after Zhou Ming's death. It's clear to me now that I was used as a scapegoat. The real collusion with the Wuxin sect came from others. I had planned to secretly gather evidence and put an end to it, but you beat me to it. Su Qian sneered inwardly. Beat you to it? I had the evidence before you even got off the ground. He turned to look at the man in white behind him. The white-robed warlock quickly spoke up. It seems he isn't lying. Su Qian frowned at him. What do you mean seems? Either he is or he isn't. What's with this seems? The white-robed man hurriedly explained. We're both grade 6 feng shui masters. This commandery officer is grade 5. Normally, our divination skills wouldn't fail, but still, it's not 100% guaranteed. First, if Lord Yang has rigorously trained his spirit and possesses strong willpower, then his lies would be undetectable to us. For example, once Su Gongzi steps into the spirit refining realm, ordinary grade 8 sorcerers won't be able to see through him. It would require someone of the same grade or higher to discern it. Secondly, there are artifacts that mask auras. Of course, Lord Yang has already been searched, and no such artifacts were found. Lastly, both the Wuxin sect and our own sorcerers have spells that can alter memories. If Lord Yang prepared in advance, what he says now would indeed be the truth. Su Qian was taken aback. This was the first time he'd heard about the possibility of altering memories. Old Jiang chimed in, eager to make his presence known. That's a high-level technique only top experts. Su Qian nodded in understanding, but this meant that if memories could be altered, the case would become even more complicated. Traditional investigative methods would no longer be effective. He cast a sharp glance at the white-robed sorcerers. It seemed that only practitioners of the mystical arts deal with others of their kind. If I'd known, I would have requested for Song Qing or the King of Peeps to accompany us, he thought. Not just these 3 feng shui practitioners. At that moment, Yang Chuanan spoke up. Sudarin, someone of your caliber is worthy of the title. Whether what I'm saying is true or false, why not investigate further? Su Qian smirked inwardly. Use the enemy to destroy the enemy? He said aloud. Why would I help you? I can just escort you back to the capital, and the matter ends there. Yang Chuanan remained unexpectedly calm. His tone even, that's fine. Starting that day, the post station implemented a 3-shift rotation. No one was allowed to enter or leave without the inspector's approval, regardless of day or night. The Tiger Guards were somewhat energized. The main culprit had been apprehended. They could already foresee their return to the capital not far off. Complaining among themselves, they noted how miserable the southern region was, damp and cold, making even a quilt at night feel cold. No matter how many layers you wear, it's useless. You can only keep warm by shivering. One of them grumbled. They were chatting away when a figure suddenly appeared at the post station entrance. Gu Benwei immediately reached for his sword hilt. Li Miaozhan called out loudly. The jade-faced General Li Miaozhan requests an audience. Inspector, came the low voice of Zhang Luzhong from inside. Let them in. Li Miaozhan stepped into the courtyard of the post station, snapping at Su Su. Stop dawdling. Come along. Su Su reluctantly followed, whining, Mistress, this place is full of bothersome warriors. Their vigorous qi is so intense, it's making my whole body ache. She chattered on. Mistress, you won't believe it. 2 of the patrolling soldiers here seem smitten with me. Li Miaozhan's face darkened, but she ignored her. Passing through the courtyard, they entered the main hall. Standing tall and straight in the center of the room, Li Miaozhan asked, You've arrested the commander. Yang Chuanan, do you have evidence? Inspector Zhang raised the ledger in his hand. Are you referring to this? The evidence is conclusive. Li Miaozhan looked at Su Qian with a complex expression. So this was your doing? Su Qian shook his head. I didn't do it. I just found it. Li Miaozhan cast a cold glance at Su Su. As expected, the so-called evidence was indeed uncovered by Su Qian. Su Su looked equally confused. She insisted she hadn't been slacking off, but the evidence was now irrefutable. This little gong had managed to retrieve the evidence, right under her nose. Li Miaozhan took a deep breath and said, Inspector, there's more to this case than meets the eye. Inspector Zhang replied coolly, General Li, you're just a jade-faced general, and not an official of the court. You have no authority to interfere in court matters. Out of respect for your achievements in suppressing bandits, I allowed you to come here to speak. Li Miaozhan clenched her teeth, feeling an overwhelming sense of powerlessness. Simultaneously, a crazy idea began to grow in her mind. At this moment, Su Qian coughed lightly. Inspector, perhaps it's worth hearing her out. Inspector Zhang and Zhang Luzhong exchanged glances, and then, with a slight wave of his hand, said, Since Su Qian speaks, I'll give him this face. Speak your mind. Li Miaozhan hesitated for a few seconds, before she said, I've known Yang Chuanan for over a year. We've worked together on several bandit suppression missions, but I'm not so naive as to trust people blindly. I know how deceitful and changeable human nature can be. I trust Yang Chuannan, not just because we've fought side by side, but because I learned through certain channels that after the court dispatched you, Inspector, to investigate him in Yunzhou, I arranged for a ghost to keep watch over him. At that time, Yang Chuannan wasn't in contact with the Qi Party's secret network. At the mention of the ghost surveillance, Zhang Luzhong raised his brows, and Inspector Zhang's eyes burned as he stared at her. How did you know that? I would come to Yunzhou to investigate Yang Chuannan? Su Qian chimed in. Inspector, it's because there's a traitor among us, and it's that person over there. Faced with Inspector Zhang's questioning, Li Miaozhen said directly, that's my secret. Su Qian, feeling a bit guilty, changed the subject. Yang Chuannan is a 5th-rank warrior. Your ghost surveillance surely wouldn't escape his notice, right? At the same time, he thought to himself, I told number 2 about this ahead of time, to ensure she cooperated with their investigation. Li Miaozhen said lightly, what if he knows? As long as he remains under the ghost's watch, my goal is achieved. Su Qian could only nod in agreement. It was like in his previous life. People could see street cameras, watching them from the roadside, yet there was nothing they could do about it, unless they picked up a rock and smashed it. And if Yang Chuannan had tried to smash the camera, number 2 wouldn't have been so willing to defend him. Wait, did Yang Chuannan have a wife? The ghost must have seen a lot of things. Luckily, the master scribe was dormant. Otherwise, I would have ended up as the star of a local surveillance video. Zhang Luzhong pressed on. Is that all? Li Miaozhen replied, I am a disciple of the Tianzong sect. I can see through Yang Chuanan's true nature. The Tianzong sect cultivates unity between heaven and man. Lord Su should already be aware of this. The reason they say Su Qian knows these things is all because Su, when previously trapped, did not hesitate to betray Lady Mei. Zhang Luzhong nodded and said, regarding the unity between heaven and man, I've studied it. To achieve such unity, one must reach a state of supreme detachment. As the saying goes, heaven and earth show no mercy, treating all things as mere dogs. It's said that the more advanced Tianzong cultivators become, the more like stone statues they are, devoid of joy, sorrow. Even if their own child were to die, they would feel no grief. Su Qian instinctively glanced at Li Miaozhen, and a thought unexpectedly crossed his mind. In the future, if we have children, I'll raise them. Zhang Luzhong continued. To achieve unity with heaven, one must perceive the laws of nature's transformations, and integrate the myriad phenomena into oneself. Tianzong disciples are more knowledgeable about Gawu, investigating things, than any scholar. Governance. They have a keen intuition for qualities such as good and evil, and greed. Su Qian was momentarily stunned. Isn't this basically a human lie detector? No, human lie detectors are the specialty of the Directorate of Celestial Monitoring. Tianzong disciples should be called scum detectors. Su Qian nodded in realization. However, the celestial observation techniques of the Directorate have flaws. Miaozhen calmly said, as a cultivator of the Tianzong sect, you should have absolute confidence in your intuition. If you start doubting your intuition, it means you are doubting yourself, and you will eventually succumb to inner demons. Su Qian pointed to himself and said, then test me. See what kind of person I am. Li Miaozhen snorted softly. We've known each other for too short a time. This is a long process, but there's no need to test you anymore. Your character is already written all over your face. Su Qian's face darkened, and he cursed inwardly. Li Miaozhen openly revealed Yang Chuanan's schemes. Realizing he had become involved in the conflict between the 7 factions and the witch god cult, Yang Chuanan had been planning his escape. On one hand, he investigated the internal members of the 7 factions within the military command. On the other hand, he searched for evidence left by Zhou Ming. If he could prove his innocence, that would be ideal. If not, he would destroy the so-called evidence. To protect himself, Su Qian had to admit, he agreed with this approach. If I encountered such a situation, I'd probably protect myself first, then investigate the case depending on my ability. However, he still shook his head and said, words alone are not evidence. We've obtained evidence. Even if Yang Chuanan isn't the mastermind, as the commander, he must take responsibility. Besides, the celestial observation technique cannot serve as evidence. Your concept of investigating things, Gawu, can't convince the court either. After speaking, he stood up and walked to the ghost girl Su's side, pinching her face. That stunningly beautiful face immediately caved in. Su's face twisted in shock. She huffed. What are you doing? Su Qian chuckled mischievously. As expected, you're still just the same Su. Do you want a living body of your own? Not one you possess, but a body without a soul. Su pouted. A dead body? A discarded shell? At most, it would rot after a short time. Su Qian slyly said. No, it's a real body without a soul, without a spirit at all. I know Song Qing from the Directorate of Celestial Monitoring. He's conducting alchemy experiments on life. His ultimate goal is to create a body beyond that of ordinary humans, and he's recently made significant breakthroughs. Su began to show interest and a sense of longing. Su Qian feigned seriousness. Of course it's true. As long as you choose to follow me, I can definitely get you a clean, ownerless body. As for the issue of not being able to leave your master, I'll find a solution. Lady May glared at him in irritation. Su, you impotent scoundrel, how dare you try to steal my subordinate right in front of me? Zhang Xuanfu coughed to get attention, reminding the little copper gong not to go off topic. Discussing your flirting with the ghost girl can wait. Su Qian understood the leader's hint, and tentatively asked, General Li, you mentioned that Yang Chuanin and you secretly investigated the internal affairs of the command. Do you have any leads? Li Miaojin seemed prepared to answer. Not long after Zhou Ming's death, I collaborated with Yang Chuanin to investigate the command. We eventually identified a key suspect, also part of the 7 factions. But that person was very cunning and seemed aware of the danger. Before we could make a move, he disappeared. Su Qian mentally rolled his eyes, thinking, how is that any better than nonsense? He then directly asked, who is that person? Li Miaojin answered, like Zhou Ming, he was a clerk in the logistics division under the command. His job involved managing warehouses and supplies. Su Qian immediately asked for his name, age, appearance, residential address, and information on his family and friends. Generally, can you provide these details? Li Miaojin said, of course, but I don't have the information with me. I'll have someone send it to the station tomorrow. As for his appearance, I can draw it for you now. Zhang Xuanfu immediately had someone bring paper, ink, and brushes. Everyone sat quietly, watching Li Miaojin draw. Even Su behaved. Though from time to time, she stole glances at Su Qian's face. It had to be said, Su Qian was quite handsome, but good-looking men are often unreliable. What should I do? Should I believe what he said earlier? If it's true, before long, the time it takes to drink a cup of tea passed. Li Miaojin finished the drawing and smiled. Su Qian and the others eagerly gathered to look at it. Zhang Xuanfu and Old Jiang had no particular reaction. However, Su Qian was already suffering from a minor panic. The person in the drawing was a thin, middle-aged man, and he was none other than the owner of the dog meat shop at number 15, Huanghua Street. Su Qian felt as if his intelligence had been insulted. If this person had bad intentions, he might have already fallen into his trap. At that moment, Li Miaojin spoke. His name is Liang Yuping. Unlike Zhou Ming, he is a local from Yunzhou. According to Yang Chuanin, he got involved with the faction through certain connections. Zhang Xuanfu appeared thoughtful. The logistics clerk's duties under the command were similar to Zhou Ming's. Why didn't you and Yang Chuanin contact us earlier? He expressed his doubts openly. Li Miaojin coldly replied, during the investigation, factional struggles within the court were intense. Were you planning to take advantage of this, to remove faction members from their posts across the region? Zhang Xuanfu calmly replied, I am loyal to my duties and the trust of His Majesty and Lord Wei. I must fulfill my responsibilities and severely punish corrupt officials. Li Miaojin sneered in disdain. Such lofty rhetoric. Su Qian sighed tiredly and said in a low voice, I know this man. Is he a cripple? The 3 of them were shocked and looked at him in disbelief. Li Miaojin nodded. Liang Yuping fell off a cliff during a campaign against bandits and broke his leg. Su Qian felt the urge to curse. That guy's words aren't trustworthy at all. To think I was even moved by him at the time, this just shows how poor my mental state was back then. I didn't even think to use the forgetting technique to verify if he was telling the truth. On a normal day, I wouldn't have made such a mistake. Zhang Xuanfu couldn't help but ask, what's going on? Su Qian sighed and said, my mind is a mess right now. Let me go somewhere first. I'll explain everything to you later. He then looked at Zhang Luzhong and said, Jiang, come with me. Zhang Luzhong shook his head. Lord Wei's orders are for me to stay and protect the inspector at all times. Su Qian acknowledged the reasoning and nodded. That makes sense. What if we return to find the inspector's head has been taken? Once the ball's in play, it's all good, Su Qian thought. He changed his request. Give me 2 silver gongs to accompany me, and lend me 30 tiger guards. Li Miaojin excitedly stood up and said, I'll go with you. Su Qian quickly changed his request again. Old Jiang, I need 3 silver gongs now. The inspection team from the capital had certain criminal jurisdiction powers, except within the inner city. Before long, they arrived at Huanghua Street. A group of tiger guards in armor charged into the black market, drawing wary and hostile glances from passers-by, who quickly backed away. Su Qian led the team to number 15 on the street, only to find the shop's door tightly shut. There were no lights on inside. Su Qian's heart sank. He signaled for the tiger guards to surround the shop, intending to force entry. Suddenly, Li Miaojin called out to stop him. She pulled a bottle from her pouch, opened it, and wisps of green smoke floated out, seeping through the cracks in the door and windows. Su Qian praised, this is a perfect scout. Li Miaojin proudly raised her chin. The heavenly way transforms all energies. The cultivation paths of the heaven, earth, and human sects are entirely different. The earth sect focuses on virtue. The heaven sect pursues detachment from emotions. The human sect takes the opposite approach, turning what should have been a serene Taoist priestess into a seductive fox spirit. Su Qian silently pondered. The heaven and human sects are like fire and water, mortal enemies. Perhaps it's because their cultivation paths are opposites. The Earth sect, focusing on virtue, remains neutral and gets along with both sides. They have no grudges or resentment, so they can maintain friendly interactions. Otherwise, Li Miaojin, the holy maiden of the Heaven sect, would never have joined the Heaven and Earth Society. Even Luo Yuheng wouldn't have gifted elixirs to Taoist Master Jinlian. Truly, being well-connected is the key to power. Just like how my family maintains good relations with both Linen and Huiqing. Both sides can be charmed. At that moment, the wisps of green smoke slowly drifted back. Li Miaojin announced, "There's no one inside the shop, and no ambush either." Su Qian led the 3 silver gongs to break down the door. They searched the entire place, upstairs and downstairs. There were no signs of a struggle inside, nor signs of looting. It seemed as though the shop's owner had simply left temporarily. Su Qian glanced at the onlookers outside and pointed at one of them, saying, "You, come here. I have something to ask you. Where is the owner of the shop at number 15? The owner of the shop at number 6. He hasn't opened for business in 3 days. The girls he kept at his place have all come to my shop to work." Su Qian's eyes glinted slightly. 3 days without opening. That's right after I left. He continued questioning. "Is the owner of the shop at number 15 the crippled man?" The owner of number 16 nodded. "Yes, it's him. But he's not the original owner." Su Qian frowned in thought and asked, "What happened to the original owner? When did the new crippled owner take over the shop?" The number 16 shop owner thought for a moment. "The ownership change at number 15 happened about a month ago. I have no idea where the previous owner went." With that information, Su Qian could only lead his team back in disappointment. Li Miaojin glanced sideways at him. "You seem exhausted." Su Qian rubbed his temples and thought to himself, "Fine. Let her know I'm not just some lustful guy." But the more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became. Pointing at himself, he said, "General Li, you seem to think I'm some kind of lecherous person. Why else would you send Su Su?" Li Miaojin stood her ground. "Isn't that the truth?" Su Qian retorted irritably. "I've been pushing myself in the practice of the spirit refining mirror technique. I haven't slept in days." Li Miaojin's eyes widened slightly. Spirit refining mirror? So I've been misunderstanding him all along. But then she looked at Su Qian with a hint of melancholy. "Even if this change is due to the spirit refining mirror, it doesn't change the fact that you're still a lecher. You will never know how well I understand you." "Curious?" she asked cautiously. "If I remember correctly, the limit for maintaining the spirit refining mirror state is 10 days. Su Qian responded calmly. "Generally, are you not familiar with the martial path system?" Lady Mei asked. "Why should I be familiar with it?" Su Qian winced slightly. "You don't seem to hold martial artists in high regard." Li Miaojin replied with some humor. "I'm not the only one." Su Qian was left speechless. The hierarchy of disdain in this world seemed to be that no one respected anyone else, but everyone collectively looked down on martial artists, except for sorcerers and warriors themselves. In every other major system, there were beings of transcendental power, or at least there had been in the past, but sorcerers were far more useful than martial artists, which made them more respected. Su Qian silently cursed to himself. "This is so frustrating. When will there finally be a martial god to rise from the martial arts system?" Upon returning to the station, they knocked on Zhang Xuanfu's door. Su Qian and Li Miaojin entered the room. The person General Li drew was the black stone shop owner, the one who was safeguarding Zhou Ming's evidence. "I deciphered the code Zhou Ming left behind and traced it to that location to find the documents." Zhang Xuanfu's expression turned serious. "Could it be that the original owner was actually the one truly safeguarding the accounts?" Su Qian nodded. "That's highly likely, and if I'm not mistaken, he was probably silenced." The shop owner I encountered later was Liang Yuping, posing as someone else. Zhang Luzhong asked in confusion, "But how did they find the black market district?" Su Qian pondered. "Do you remember what I said when I analyzed the case? We discovered the black stone shop through the lead, connected to Yang Yinin. But that lead wasn't meant for us. It was intended for Lord Yang of the Qinzhou Bureau. In other words, the clues Zhou Ming left for us were cracked ahead of time." Li Miaojin shook her head. "Don't you think that's strange? If they had already found the accounts, why not just destroy them? Why would they leave them there, waiting for you to find them and take them?" Zhang Luzhong was shocked. "The account book was swapped out? We got a fake one?" Zhang Xuanfu shook his head. "If the account book is fake, I'll be able to spot the flaws tomorrow when I meet the commander. So what would be the point of sending us a fake?" Zhang Luzhong frowned even more deeply. "But sending the real account book is even more bizarre. They killed the actual dog meat shop owner on the street, then returned the account book to us untouched?" Su Qian finished his cup of tea in one gulp and nodded. "Indeed, whether the account book is real or fake, neither makes logical sense. Let's take a step back and review this case." Zhou Ming discovered Yang Chuanan's covert support for mountain bandits. He secretly reported his findings to the authorities. The faction got wind of it and immediately pressured the night watchman by fabricating an embezzlement case to force Lord Wei to compromise. Later, by sheer coincidence, I uncovered their collusion with the witch god cult and their secret support for the mountain bandits. Only then did the court grasp the gravity of the situation and send the inspector to Yunzhou to investigate. Earlier, While questioning people at the black market, I learned that the original owner of number 15 was killed about a month ago. At that time, we were still at the Qinzhou border. He turned to Li Miaojin and asked, "General Li, when did Yang Chuanan receive the confidential message from the capital?" Li Miaojin replied, "It arrived about 6 days ago, sent by a friend of Lord Yang from the capital." Su Qian nodded. "That fits. We were already moving on the fastest route. Even if the 7 faction moved faster, they couldn't have outpaced us by much. Whether it's silencing someone or killing the dog meat shop owner, it's likely Our real enemy is here in Yunzhou. In that case, there are only 2 possibilities for this case. 1. This is all part of Yang Chuanan's elaborate plan. 2. There's a mastermind behind the scenes, intending to make Yang Chuanan the scapegoat. When the confidential message reached the capital, the plan was already being set in motion. They killed Zhou Ming, searched for the hidden evidence, and tried to frame Yang Chuanan for it. If the account book is real, then the first possibility is unlikely, because this would be equivalent to handing us the weapon to use against them. If the account book is fake, then it makes even less sense. Yang Chuanan neither clears his name, nor is he truly incriminated. By voluntarily giving us the account book, Liang Yuping only aroused suspicion, which indirectly helped Yang Chuanan. Li Miaojin chimed in. So in other words, the account book must be real. There's a mastermind behind the scenes, trying to push Yang Chuanan forward as a scapegoat. But Liang Yuping's act of killing the dog meat shop owner and personally delivering the account book to you doesn't make sense anymore. Su Qian rubbed his temples in frustration. Indeed, if the account book is real, all the mastermind needed to do was wait for the inspection team to find it. Yang Chuanan would have no way to defend himself. In that scenario, Liang Yuping's actions were unnecessary. Zhang Xuanfu pondered. Perhaps there's something wrong with the account book. The account book is real, but it contains a hidden flaw that could lead us to uncover the true mastermind. So they had to go to great lengths to find it, eliminate the flaw, then pose as the dog meat shop owner, waiting for us to show up, so they could hand over the account book. Zhang Luzhong shook his head. No, that doesn't add up. How would they know the account book had an issue? Wasn't the account book created by Zhou Ming? Zhang Xuanfu explained. Zhou Ming was able to find evidence because he was a clerk in the command office. He managed the warehouse and logistics, with all important items passing through his hands, and Liang Yuping was also a clerk. Su Qian nodded, analyzing the situation in his mind. After a moment, he spoke. There's something I still don't understand. His question piqued Li Miaojin's curiosity, and she fixed her gaze on him. Su Qian pondered aloud. Why? Was it Liang Yuping who delivered the account book to us? Doesn't that strike you as strange? Liang Yuping has already been exposed. Once we capture Yang Chuanan and interrogate him, he'll surely try to clear his name and spill everything he knows. In such a scenario, as long as we compare notes with Liang Yuping's portrait, we'd have ended up with this meeting. Li Miaojin muttered, because only Liang Yuping would have been able to identify the flaw in the account book. Zhang Luzhong glanced at him. They had enough time to find the problem hidden within the account book. At that point, they could have just swapped in a new person. There was no need for Liang Yuping to stay there. If it weren't for you showing his portrait, we might not have realized the dog meat shop owner was fake. Zhang Xuanfu stroked his beard and said thoughtfully, in other words, as long as that person wasn't Liang Yuping, we wouldn't have uncovered this flaw. It's like they exposed the flaw on purpose. Meanwhile, Zhu Guangxiao woke abruptly from a dream, feeling his bladder full. He got up to use the restroom and walked into the hallway. Suddenly, he saw a woman in a purple dress wandering the corridor. Startled, he caught a glimpse of her side profile. Even that brief glance showed a beauty that seemed otherworldly, causing his heart to race. Zhu Guangxiao's eyes widened in disbelief. Su, no, it's that ghost girl. He sighed helplessly. She played with my emotions, hurt my pride. And now she's boldly appearing before me again. Suppressing the urge to relieve himself, he turned and knocked on Song Tingfeng's door. What is it? Song Tingfeng grumbled. Why are you visiting so late at night? Zhu Guangxiao's expression was grim. He dragged Song Tingfeng quietly into the corridor. Song Tingfeng glanced at the scene and trembled in anger, his hands and feet turning cold. But soon, tears welled in his eyes. His composure shattered, and he began crying softly. He has the audacity to show up again. When we night watchmen aren't around to intervene, he thinks he can do as he pleases. Zhu Guangxiao asked quietly, what do we do now? Song Tingfeng gritted his teeth. This must stay a secret. No one can know. Otherwise, we'll be branded in disgrace forever, unable to redeem ourselves. How are we supposed to show our faces at the office after that? As he spoke, he made a downward slicing gesture. We might as well do a clean sweep. Banish her to the cold palace. No turning back. Zhu Guangxiao shook his head. No, we can't. The fact that she's here means that General Li is also present. We can't make a move. If we act, we'll only expose ourselves and face questioning from the inspector. Song Tingfeng gritted his teeth. So what do we do then? At that moment, Su sensed something and raised her head. Noticing the two of them, she broke into a sweet smile. Oh, it's you two. Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao froze. Embarrassing memories that made them want to explode on the spot suddenly resurfaced. They both shared a moment of silent despair. Meanwhile, inside the room, Zhang Xuanfu gave his suggestion. There's no point in acting rashly now. My proposal is, tomorrow, we'll visit the commander's office and verify the authenticity of the account book. Then we'll issue a warrant for Liang Yuping in Xuanzhou. Su Qian glanced at Li Miaozhen, whose reputation and connections had still failed to locate Liang Yuping. That suggested that he had powerful backing. A warrant from Xuanzhou might not be reliable. This case hinges on Liang Yuping, Su Qian noted. However, Jiang Luzhong supported Zhang Xuanfu's proposal. Good idea. If we can't catch Liang Yuping, we'll just use Commander Yang Chuanan as a scapegoat. This caused Li Miaozhen's mood to plummet. Her displeasure was written all over her face. But since she couldn't defeat the veteran officials, she reluctantly restrained herself from acting out. Su Qian remarked, if this really is Yang Chuanan's ploy to gain sympathy, then it's basically a death wish. Many who rise in the court are opportunists, sure, but to think their eyes would be blind to any deceit, in the name of righteousness, is naive. People driven entirely by justice. Can someone who's purely righteous thrive in the political arena? Zhang Xuanfu will try to find the true culprit and serve justice, but he won't hesitate to sacrifice Yang Chuanan to close the case. After all, accusations against Yang Chuanan are not baseless. First, he can't escape responsibility for oversight. Second, he is a member of the Seven faction, and now that the faction has collapsed, according to political norms, he's bound to be purged. Thinking of this, Su Qian spoke firmly. General Jiang, this is reckless. Why was Zhou Ming silenced? Who's behind the scheme to frame Yang Chuanan? Is this a distortion of human nature, or a collapse of morality? We carry the emperor's orders, and we must do everything in our power to ensure justice for the innocent and restore integrity to Yunzhou's political landscape. Li Miaozhen widened her eyes, impressed. Well said. Meanwhile, both Jiang Luzhong and Zhang Xuanfu silently wondered, what's going on with this guy? He's not one to spout such grandiose rhetoric. Zhang Xuanfu clapped Su Qian on the shoulder and declared loudly, I'll leave this case to you. Make sure to uncover the truth. Su Qian felt exasperated as he looked at him, thinking, Inspector, you're as sly as ever. I was foolish to try playing tricks in front of you, but what can I say now? He noticed Li Miaozhen still watching him, waiting for him to continue his performance. Understood. I will do my best, he replied reluctantly. Suddenly, they heard a commotion and a surge of powerful energy outside the room. Jiang Luzhong was the first to push open the door, his sharp, hawk-like eyes scanning the area. He saw Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao, their energies flaring chaotically, waving their arms wildly. They were shouting, stay away. We won't fall for the same trick twice. In front of them stood the stunningly beautiful Su Su, her brows furrowing slightly, with an innocent look on his face. Su Qian immediately rushed out. Misunderstanding, he said kindly. He spread his arms and put them around the two boys' shoulders, half pushing and half dragging them into the room. Su Qian didn't even ask, what's going on with you two? The two appeared very agitated. What's up with that female ghost? We knew, and yet you still made us face her. If word gets out, how can we show our faces? Su Qian comforted them patiently. He explained that she was just accompanying her master to Nanyang. As long as you two don't reveal anything, who would spread it around? She's just a well-traveled carriage. What man hasn't she tried to charm? You two are just naive. The pitiful brothers wailed bitterly. I don't care. I feel sick every time I see her. So ashamed, I want to howl to the heavens. I don't want to see her. After a while, the two younger brothers calmed down after Su's reassurance. Zhu Guangxiao asked, did Yang Chuanan confess? Was it the deputy general coming to make trouble? Su Qian sighed. This case is tough to handle. Do you know who that boss at the dog meat shop really was? The brothers were confused. He was a seasoned military officer, with years of experience. Using just a quarter hour, Su Qian explained the situation succinctly. The room fell silent. Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao felt a chill run down their spines. Zhu Guangxiao said gloomily, it would have been better if we had brought him back to the station right away. Su Qian rubbed his temples, recently plagued by dizziness and slight hallucinations. Zhu Guangxiao added, who could have guessed he was a fake? At that time, the governor and General Jinluo were out inspecting. I thought we'd report to them when they returned. If needed, we'd ask for permission to make an arrest. Su Qian sighed, always saying what should have been done later. Suddenly Zhu Guangxiao furrowed his brows. Wait, the name you mentioned just now sounds familiar. Now that I think of it, I had a strange dream. I dreamt that someone locked me in a dark room. Su Qian chuckled. Was that room called 404? Zhu Guangxiao clearly didn't understand what 404 meant. Someone locked me in a dark room, constantly asking where Liang something or other was. I can't recall the exact name. Song Tingfeng squinted at him. Liang Yuping. Zhu Guangxiao realized, right? That's the name. How did you know? Song Tingfeng's expression froze. I had the exact same dream. Zhu Guangxiao was stunned. He wondered if he had misheard. Su Qian, who had been teasing moments ago, also suddenly changed his expression. It was as if he had heard something terrifying. Could it really be a coincidence that they had the same dream? Su Qian thought of the witch god cult, but he couldn't figure out one thing. Why would the witch god cult people interrogate Liang Yuping in a dream? Wasn't Liang Yuping one of the seventh party? Didn't the seventh party collude with the witch god cult? Shouldn't they be on the same side? Su Qian stumbled out of the room, muttering to himself, "This is too convoluted." His two colleagues watched him in confusion. What was he suddenly freaking out about? They didn't dare stop him, for fear that Su Qian might collapse. Su Qian wandered around for a bit, then knocked on a neighboring officer's door. "Zhao Yinluo, did you sleep well tonight? Did you have any dreams?" Zhao Yinluo was surprised. "How did you know?" Su Qian pressed urgently. "What did you dream of?" Zhao Yinluo had a wistful look. "I dreamed of a woman named Fonsi. It's been so long since I came to Yunzhou. I haven't even touched a woman's hand." Su Qian was left speechless, frustrated. He went to knock on the rooms of other officers, eventually questioning over a dozen people. He discovered none of them had dreamt of anything. In the entire station, the only ones interrogated in dreams were Zhu Guangxiao and Song Tingfeng. Su Qian looked at his two colleagues with a gaze filled with pity. They were truly pitiful. Not only have they developed Su PTSD, but they've also been locked up and interrogated in dreams. What luck! All the bad things seem to happen to these two. Song Tingfeng muttered, "Your gaze makes me uncomfortable. If you keep looking at me like that, we can't be brothers anymore." Su Qian grinned. "We're more like father and son anyway." Song Tingfeng immediately grabbed a chair, ready to hit him. Su Qian quickly apologized. My bad. Just leave me be. I need some quiet." Only Zhu Guangxiao and Song Tingfeng experienced interrogation in their dreams, and the questioning focused on Liang Yuping's whereabouts. It was clear that this was because we had once gone to the black market and obtained account books from Liang Yuping. As for why I wasn't interrogated, it's simple. I was grinding to level up like crazy. No, my mind's getting increasingly muddled. I can't handle this all by myself. I need to drag Zhang Xuanfu and Jiang Luzong into this mess. Su Qian immediately stepped out, but not before turning back and saying, "You two, go back to your own rooms. And remember, don't sleep tonight." As he passed the room where Yang Chuanen was held, Li Miaozhen happened to come out with Jiang Luzong. Su Qian approached them. "General Li, are you leaving?" Li Miaozhen nodded. "The governor has promised to spare no effort in uncovering the truth. There's still a glimmer of hope for Yang Chuanen. I've accomplished what I came here for." Su Qian teased. "I'm afraid you won't be able to leave just yet." Su chimed in angrily. "Master, this brat's up to no good. Let Su take care of him." With that, she prepared to blast Su Qian with her salty breath. But just as she was about to let out a gust, Li Miaozhen intervened. She shot Su a glance. "You just want an excuse to get back at him, don't you?" she said. Then she turned to Su Qian. "What is it?" Su Qian straightened up. "I've just found some new leads. Let's talk in Zhang Xuanfu's room." He was just about to sleep when he had to reluctantly get up and dress. "It's late. Can't this wait until tomorrow? I'm just an ordinary man. I don't have the endless energy of you martial types." Li Miaozhen reflexively objected. "I'm not a martial artist." Zhang Xuanfu impatiently said, "If you've got something to say it and then get lost." Su Qian's expression darkened. "There's something I think you all should know." In the time it took to drink a cup of tea, he explained how Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao had been interrogated in their dreams. Jiang Luzong confirmed, "Yes, that's a method of the witch god cult." Li Miaozhen looked at Su Qian. "The reason you weren't interrogated was probably because you didn't sleep." Su Qian let out a long sigh. In response to the question from the beautiful general, Zhang Xuanfu tried to process this information. The witch god cult is also searching for Liang Yuping? Isn't Liang Yuping one of the seventh party? Li Miaozhen wondered. Could we have been wrong? What if Liang Yuping isn't with the seventh party? Maybe handing him over to us wasn't meant to frame Lord Yang. Su Qian said calmly, "Liang Yuping is with the seventh party. You told us this yourself. We didn't just guess it. Besides, if Liang Yuping isn't one of the seventh party, then a lot of things wouldn't add up. I'm more inclined to believe he is one of them. Our previous reasoning was solid." Li Miaozhen scoffed. "Then how do you explain why the witch god cult is after him?" Su Qian gave her an exasperated look. This girl's intelligence was average at best. Not stupid, but not particularly bright either. If Princess Huiqing were here, it would take a lot of the burden off me. The group discussed for a while, but came to no new conclusions. They had no choice but to put it aside for now, and revisit it another day. Just before leaving, Li Miaozhen glanced deeply at Su Qian. Su Qian turned and headed to the bathhouse. After soaking in cold water, he felt much more refreshed. But when he reached out for his, he suddenly realized it was gone. Just then, a delicate voice came from behind. "Are you looking for this?" Su Qian said angrily. "Miss Su, men and women shouldn't be so familiar with each other." Su shot him a sidelong glance and said dismissively, "Men and women shouldn't be close? I'm not interested in a beanpole like you." Following her gaze, Su Qian looked down and suddenly noticed something stirring. He immediately pressed down with one hand and grabbed the towel with the other to cover up. Then, blocking Susu's invasive stare, he calmly said, "Miss Susu, ever heard the saying it's lonely at the top?" Susu tilted her head, obviously not understanding what he meant. Su Qian felt annoyed. In this world, pursuing something too high can indeed be a lonely and cold endeavor. Su Qian lost the mood to banter with the ghost. Impatiently, he said, "If you have something to say it." Susu straightened her expression. "What you said before, was it true? You weren't lying to me?" Su Qian inwardly sneered. "You're falling for it, huh?" He immediately began to exaggerate. "Of course, a man's word is as good as a nail. Are you ready to elope with me?" Susu rolled her eyes. "Elope? That sounds so crass. Fine. I can help you with 3 things, in exchange for a flesh and blood body. Deal?" Su Qian immediately refused. "What could a weak little ghost do for me? You just want something for nothing." Susu pleaded. "Please, won't you help me?" Su Qian snorted lightly. "Even if you try to charm me, it won't work. I won't fall for it." Susu pointed somewhere and sneered. "Better check yourself before saying that." Su Qian cleared his throat awkwardly. "Fine, but I don't want you to do 3 things. Instead, once you get your new body, be my concubine for a few years." When Su Qian said this, he was just making it up as he went along, because Song Qing didn't actually have the means. Make a new body. The talk about a physical form was just to trick her into returning to the capital with him. Faced with the prospect of becoming Su Qian's concubine, Susu blushed and said, "I'm still a maiden." Su Qian smiled. "Of course you are. Every time you switch to a new paper body, it's like starting fresh." Susu pouted angrily. "I meant before I died." As she spoke, she sighed. "Back when I was alive, I was the daughter of a wealthy family. When I was 18, my future husband was a scholar, handsome and courteous. I was filled with joy and anticipation. But the following spring, my father got caught up in a major case, and the emperor had him executed. My mother, not wanting us to live in disgrace, made a pot of chicken soup mixed with arsenic. I remember I had a younger brother, who happened to be studying away from home at the time, and thus escaped. After I died, my spirit lingered, wandering the mass graves for several days. Just as I was about to vanish, I encountered a celestial master from Tianzong. He said I was 1 in a million, and took me in. I spent over 20 years in Tianzong, watching the master's child grow up." Su Qian suddenly realized something. "You've been dead for over 20 years? Susu sniffed. "At my age, I could practically be your mother." With no shame, Su Qian promptly called her mother. Susu blushed a little, then angrily said, "You're so shameless." After her initial embarrassment, she got back on topic. "Before I died, I was still a maiden. Though after becoming a ghost, my unscrupulous master often made me seduce men. But at most, I just played the coquette. After all, ghosts don't have bodies." Su Qian scratched his head. "Why are you telling me this?" Susu sighed deeply. "I have 2 lingering wishes. One is to see my fiancée once more, in my flesh and blood, just as it was back then. The other is to find out the truth behind the case that ruined my father." Su Qian instinctively asked, "Was your father falsely accused? If so, come with me. If you follow me, I'll help you solve the case." "Who's better at investigating cases than me?" Susu shook her head. "I don't remember. I can't recall anything from that time, not even why I died." Su Qian nodded. "After all, it's been over 20 years. Susu continued. "My master's teacher once invited a high-level sorcerer from the witchcraft system to divine my fate. They couldn't find anything. When they mentioned the 4 Heavens sword," Su Qian drew a sharp breath. This revelation carried a lot of weight. Could Li Miaoxin's teacher know someone from the witch god cult? No, not necessarily. Practitioners of the witchcraft system aren't all from the witch god cult. They might be independent 6th-rank sorcerers, skilled at divination, hence why they're called diviners. But how did Susu, just a ghost, get entangled with the 4 Heavens sword? At this thought, Su Qian's heart skipped a beat. If diviners excel at divination, why couldn't they locate Liang Yuping? Instead, they invaded the dreams of Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao. At that moment, Susu puffed up her cheeks angrily. "I'm talking to you." Su Qian frowned. "I'm listening." Susu giggled. "Anyway, that's the deal. If you can give me a living body. If you give me a new body, sure, I'll be your concubine. And if I'm in a good mood, I'll even bear you a healthy baby boy." Su Qian rolled his eyes. "Buy one, get one free? Huh? Thanks, but no thanks." Finally managing to get rid of Susu, Su Qian felt a pang of guilt. After all, he had gotten her hopes up for nothing. However, he decided to make it up to her by investigating the case. Once he returned to the capital, Su Qian couldn't help but reflect. Kind-hearted men are always taken advantage of. But then again, just at that moment, his heart skipped a beat. He nearly had a heart attack on the spot. Swearing under his breath, he pulled out a small jade slip from under his pillow. Number 2 said, "Sorry to disturb you all so late. I'm facing some difficulties in Yunzhou and need your help. Su Qian clenched his fist in excitement. Nice move. Number 2. If it weren't for my current situation, students at Yunlu Academy shouldn't know the details of the Yunzhou case. Otherwise, I would have already sought help from the Heaven and Earth Society through the book fragment. Number 5 replied, Yunzhou is quite far from here. I can't help you. Then number 6, Hung Yuan, asked, how is Master Su doing in Yunzhou? Li Miaojin first reassured everyone that all was well, but she didn't immediately share the details of the case, as if she was waiting for number 1 or number 4, the more intelligent members of the group, to speak up. Su Qian understood number 2's strategy. Taking up a brush and paper, he wrote back, tell us about the Yunzhou case. Li Miaojin sighed in relief, knowing number 3 responded. If only numbers 5 and 6 had answered, she wouldn't have said anything. The amount of information was overwhelming. The beauty from the military explained it piece by piece, taking a full quarter of an hour to lay everything out. Even number 1, who normally just observed, actively responded this time. There were 2 possibilities. Either Liang Yuping wasn't actually a 7th party member, and he handed the account book to Su Qian for some other reason, or Liang Yuping might have disappeared. Li Miaojin froze. Liang Yuping disappeared? I never considered that possibility. To be cautious, she wrote down another thought. Is there a chance Yang Chuanan and Liang Yuping were working together, staging a ruse? Number 1 replied, the possibility is slim. In officialdom, Yang Chuanan would have to take responsibility, no matter what. If you were him, would you dig your own grave? Liang Yuping killed the original street performer and destroyed the problematic parts of the account book. I personally agree with this hypothesis. This makes his role as a Qi party member highly probable. Number 4 chimed in. So number 1 thinks the witch god cult's dream interrogation of those 2 constables for Liang Yuping's whereabouts suggests he's really gone missing? Su Qian considered the analysis. It broadened his perspective. So Liang Yuping disappeared, and that's why the witch god cult is desperate to find him. If he fell into enemy hands, he could reveal information damaging to multiple parties. The mastermind behind the Yunzhou situation probably believed we captured Liang Yuping, which is why they sent the witch god cult to interrogate us in our dreams. Since I didn't sleep, they targeted Song Tingfeng and Zhu Guangxiao. But why did the senior brother wait 3 days to question us? Li Miaojin asked. Number 3, are you asleep again? What's your take on this case? Su Qian responded. I have a question as well. If a 6th-rank sorcerer can divine someone's location, why couldn't they find Liang Yuping? Also, sorcerers have the ability to curse. If Liang Yuping was one of their accomplices, and they knew his disappearance might lead to leaks, killing him would be the safest option. Number 4 added, sorcerers can only curse targets with lower cultivation than themselves. If Liang Yuping had someone protecting him, the curse wouldn't work. But who could that protector be? There are plenty of people capable of that. As for divination, most high-ranking practitioners from all major systems have ways to shield themselves from it. But as for providing such protection, only one system comes to mind. The astrologers of the Directorate of Celestial Monitoring. The military beauty was shocked. You mean it was the astrologers who took Liang Yuping? The guesswork relies on the assumption that Liang Yuping disappeared, replied number 1. If it's true that astrologers took him, why wouldn't Zhang Xuanfu know about it? Or was he intentionally withholding this information from number 2? Li Miaojin disagreed. Doesn't seem like it. They likely don't know. Number 4 added. That makes it all. But one thing to be cautious of. If we can figure this out, so can the witch god cult. Astrology counters both divination and curses. That's why they resorted to dream interrogations tonight, to test whether Liang Yuping is in the Night Watcher's hands. And such probing won't stop at just 1 or 2 tries. We could turn this against them. Tracing it back to the mastermind. Tell Zhang Xuanfu about this. He'll know what to do. Number 1 then gave his opinion. Another thing. If they're testing the waters, it means they're prepared for the possibility that Liang Yuping is in the Night Watcher's custody, at least in their eyes. Whether he's with the astrologers or with the Night Watchers, it's essentially the same. In that case, they're likely ready to go down with the ship. Seeing this message, Su Qian and Li Miaojin both felt a chill. If that were true, then they'd have to strike preemptively. The hidden enemy might choose to burn everything down. Su Qian found the situation quite vexing, but for now, the priority is to find the mastermind. Otherwise, if the enemy hides in the shadows while we're in the open, it won't be good. At that moment, number 1 asked, this case may be troublesome, but with Su Qian's ability, he shouldn't be at a total loss, right? Su Qian felt flattered by the compliment. It actually felt good. He quipped, number 1, say more things like that. Li Miaojin replied, he's been focusing on spiritual refinement, so he's in a poor state. Hung Yuan the monk added, Master Su has started spiritual refinement so quickly. Before he left the capital, he was still a bit short of reaching the peak of energy refinement. I thought he'd only reach spiritual refinement by spring. Such talent is truly astonishing. Number 1 remarked. Even that might be an understatement. This level of talent is almost otherworldly. Su Qian felt immensely pleased with himself. After all, It was only due to boredom during the journey that he spent his time cultivating, leading to such rapid progress. Number 4 chimed in with interest. From what you're saying, this constable seems exceptional, a real genius. Hangyuan thought it over and replied, not exactly. When I saw him before he left, he seemed just short of advancing. I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Number 1 probably knows him better, Number 1 said. I mentioned his background before, but at the time, I didn't tell you all that when Su Qian joined the Night Watchers. He was only at the energy refinement stage, and now, in less than 2 months, he's advanced a rank. Everyone in the Heaven and Earth Society gasped. Crossing a rank in just 2 months, no matter the system, that's top-tier talent. Number 4 couldn't help but think. Number 3 is suspected to be Su Qian's cousin. Perhaps, another outstandingly talented Su Qian has appeared, and it seems likely that the Su family of Jinling will, in the not-too-distant future, rise as a bright star in Jinling. Taoist Jinlian's gift of the Earth Book fragment to that cousin wasn't just an act of kindness. It was meant to strengthen the Su brothers as a whole. Li Miaojin was taken aback. That day, Number 1 had only mentioned how impressive Su Qian was at solving cases. He hadn't brought up his talent. Suddenly, she was curious about that point. She wondered how many nights the kidney-depleted man had endured. At that moment, Number 5 scoffed. Is 2 months to advance 1 rank really so amazing? Su Qian felt annoyed and replied, it's already a significant achievement. But Number 5, ever the clever one, nonchalantly said, I didn't say it wasn't. I also advanced 1 rank in 2 months. I'm currently preparing for fate refinement, 6th rank. It only took me about 4 months to go from the 8th rank to the 6th rank. Everyone was left speechless. Su Qian felt a bit slapped in the face. It seems that members of the Heaven and Earth Society are truly exceptional individuals. Now I understand why the Taoist invited Number 5 to join. Li Miaojin excitedly rolled on her bed. It was the right choice to seek help from the members of the Heaven and Earth Society. A cunning Number 1, an experienced Number 4, and an extraordinarily clever Number 3. Together, they quickly clarified the case. The next morning, Li Miaojin retold their discussion vividly, leaving Zhang Xuanfu and Jiang Luzhong astonished. However, Zhang Xuanfu was mostly encouraged. Generally, your insight is impressive. I'm in awe. At that moment, Li Miaojin suddenly turned to Su Qian, and, looking displeased, asked, you don't seem to think much of my deductions. Su Qian inwardly groaned. Isn't it obvious? We're in the same group. Why are you acting like this in front of me? But Su Jianren still complimented sincerely. General Li's ability to solve cases and deduce the truth surpasses my own. I truly admire you, he added. Li Miaojin smiled smugly. Even I didn't expect it, she said. I seem to have a knack for solving cases. It felt great to outshine Su Qian, a top expert, in his own game. Su Qian, too, felt pretty great about it, because when his identity eventually gets revealed, he won't be the only one socially ruined. For some reason, the future suddenly felt bright. At that moment, a messenger from the Tiger Battalion reported to the Inspector General. Songbus Hengshi and other high-ranking officials are here to visit Su Qian, he said. The Inspector General frowned slightly. Clearly, these Yunzhou officials had come to address Yang Chuanan's arrest. Perhaps it was also a probe, a test from the mastermind behind the scenes. Zhang Xuanfu arrived quite early, he muttered. Let's go. Su Qian didn't follow. After Lao Jiang and Zhang Xuanfu left, he turned and went to the cafeteria. All 3 white-robed scholars from the 4 days conference were present. Without ceremony, Su Qian sat down and asked, there's something I need to ask you all, other than the 3 of you. Was there anyone else with us at the 4 days conference? The 3 white-robed scholars from Yunzhou exchanged glances. There was no one else, just the 3 of us. Su Qian's face darkened. Do you think I'm not worth your time? The white-robed scholars hurriedly explained. Mr. Su, we're serious. There were truly only the 3 of us. Su Qian nodded. Got it. Some officials are visiting Zhang Xuanfu right now. You 3 should keep an eye on them upstairs. Watch for any changes in their fortunes. Then report back to me. After giving his instructions, Su Qian led the 3 to a hidden corner on the 2nd floor stairs. After all that commotion last night, anyone who isn't blind or deaf would know about it, especially the officials in the city who keep a close watch on the Inspector General's every move. Songbus Hengshi got straight to the point. This morning we heard from the noble families that the Inspector General went straight to the commander's office last night, arrested Lord Yang. Zhang Xuanfu and Han Shouchunsheng claimed that his faction colluded with the foul spirits, supplying them with military provisions. I've brought him back to the post house for interrogation. The gathered officials' faces changed, but at this moment, no one knew what to say. Songbus Hengshi furrowed his brow. Lowering his voice, he said, Inspector General, please proceed with caution. Lord Yang is the Commander General. Do you have solid evidence? Otherwise, it will be hard to convince everyone. Su Qian kept a close eye on their movements below. Even with the Inspector General's authority, taking action against a high-ranking Commander General of the 2nd rank requires undeniable proof. Without evidence, arresting someone would be taboo. First, the Yunzhou officials wouldn't agree. Secondly, the troops under the Commander General's private command wouldn't agree. The former might just voice complaints, but the latter are armed soldiers. Without a proper explanation, it could cause trouble. Zhang Xuanfu didn't rush to present evidence. Gentlemen, you've observed Yunzhou for many years. What are your impressions of Commander General Yang Chuanan? The officials' expressions varied, and they began voicing their opinions all at once. At this moment, Su Qian muttered, "Who's lying? The one on the left with the shifty eyes," he added. "I think he's unreliable." After saying that, he realized the three white-robed scholars were silently staring at him. Su Qian asked irritably, "Why are you looking at me? Say something." The white-robed "None of them are telling the truth," they said. Su Qian was speechless for a moment. This is too damn real, he thought. This is the officialdom for you. The officials felt a chill in their hearts. The Inspector General's team had only been in Yunzhou for a short while, and they already unearthed evidence against Yang Chuanan. If Zhang Xuanfu decided to target them next, none of them would escape. One official nervously asked, "How many talented people does the Inspector General have on his team? Which one of them achieved this incredible feat?" Song Buzhengshi's eyes flickered. "Filial duty," he said. "I recall that the Copper Gong proficient in farming practices wasn't accompanying the Inspector General that day. He showed up later to make his Yes, that's the one. The officials immediately understood. So it was him. Looking back on the unique circumstances and special treatment he received compared to other night watchmen, it wasn't hard to guess that the Copper Gong who taught Su Qian his skills was exceptional. He was a key figure in the Inspector General's team. Su Qian cleared his throat deliberately, declaring his presence like old Jiang had done. His actions instantly drew everyone's attention. Inwardly, each official sighed, unable to believe that a distinguished commander general could be brought down by a mere copper gong. Su, smirking with an ironical tone, he sure knows how to show off his authority. Li Miaojin was beginning to change her opinion of Su Qian. She actually stood up for him for the first time. Men love their reputations. It's only natural, she thought. Aside from his tendency for lewdness, he was faultless in every other aspect. Upright, eloquent, skilled in solving cases, and highly capable. Li Miaojin looked at Su and said, "You seem to have some prejudices against him, but it's not true dislike. You used to scorn men in general, but now it feels like you're feuding with him." Su hurriedly protested, "I'm just upset, but you, master, seem to have taken a liking to him." Li Miaojin admitted openly. "Su Qian is indeed a fine person," Su said. "Last night, he promised to help me regain my physical body, but he made a condition." Her voice dropped as she added, "He said I'd have to be his concubine for a few years." Li Miaojin's face turned sour immediately. "Shameless man," she spat. Su Qian really is incorrigible. With the discussion over, the officials accompanied Zhang Xuanfu to the Commander General's office to examine the accounts. Account checking, though, was not something Su Qian was skilled at, so he didn't join the group. He looked up at the two beauties on the second floor. "When are you two leaving?" "Not planning to take advantage of Jiang Jinlua's absence to snatch Yang Chuanan. Are you?" Su huffed. "Master is the holy maiden of the Tianzong, the Swallow Knight. She's the most trustworthy." Su Qian raised a skeptical brow. "Trust between people is fragile. Like paper, easily torn." Su flew into a rage. She lightly jumped over the railing and pounced on Su Qian. Su Qian, seeing this, grew interested. He quickly brought his fingers together and jabbed her chest. It was like poking through paper. Su was furious. "You scoundrel, I'll kill you." She spewed energy at Su Qian, but once Su Qian was on guard, his close-quarters combat skills were superior to others. He skillfully dodged every wave of energy. Meanwhile, his own strikes left holes all over her body. Her chest, back, and abdomen were soon riddled with damage. Unable to match him, Su returned to her master in tears. "Master, he bullied me." Li Miaojin sighed and brought out another paper doll for Su to inhabit. Su Qian feigned curiosity. "Generally, you carry paper dolls with you? Where do you hide them?" Li Miaojin responded nonchalantly, "I have my methods." Su Qian's eyes widened. "What methods? Could it be the legendary mustard seed ring?" Li Miaojin frowned deeply. "What's a mustard seed ring?" However, she soon noticed the admiration in Su Qian's eyes. Satisfied, she nodded and said, "It's a similar kind of technique." Su Qian was impressed. "Generally is truly worthy of being the holy maiden of the Tianzong." Li Miaojin gave a reserved nod, clearly pleased. Su Qian smiled sincerely. "Just keep acting impressive. It's just a piece of the Earth Book. The more you act impressive now, the harder you'll fall later." At around this point, Su Qian called out to the two beauties, "Get ready. Zhang Xuanfu should be back soon." At that moment, a noble guard galloped into the post house, shouting, "It's urgent." He requested to see the Inspector General. However, the Tiger Battalion soldiers at the gate stopped him. "No one may enter the post house without permission." The noble guard pleaded, "I have an urgent matter. I must see the Inspector General immediately." Just then, a silver gong appeared with 2 copper gongs. The Inspector General is not here. Speak with me instead. The noble guard took a breath and said, the Wei army is massing outside the southern gate. They're threatening to enter the city unless the Inspector General comes out to meet them. The silver gong's brows shot up in surprise. This group of Yunzhou troops, are they trying to rebel? What's the situation outside? The noble guard quickly replied, the Wei forces have assembled 3,000 soldiers just outside the southern gate. Their commander, Su Huchen, is demanding that the Inspector General release the Commander General and provide an explanation. Otherwise, they'll enter the city. The term frozen blade flashed in Su Qian's mind. A frozen blade. It's using force to compel a ruler or superior into compliance. But a frozen blade is a dead blade. No one uses it unless there's no other choice. The silver gong seethed with rage. This is outrageous. The Inspector General is at the Commander General's office. He can't get to the southern gate within half an hour. How many city defense troops are currently stationed there? Less than 1,000, came the reply. Su Qian immediately felt a headache coming on. They might not be able to hold out. A few battle-hardened night watchmen, however, looked eager. In that case, we'll lead the Tiger Battalion to the southern gate. If those troops dare rebel, we'll cut them down. Let's buy enough time for the Inspector General and reinforcements to arrive. Su Qian reminded the hot-headed night watchman. What about Yang Chuanan? He's a major. We can't just leave him behind. A silver gong spoke calmly. We'll bring him with us. Su Qian argued. Do you think the Wei forces won't immediately start a fight? A copper gong snorted. That's exactly what they want. To force the Inspector General's hand and make us submit through violence. Fine. Let's show these Yunzhou ruffians what night watchmen are made of. Su Qian tried to calm them down. Everyone, please think rationally. Violence won't solve this. But the group, composed mainly of battle-hardened warriors, wasn't willing to listen. Enough. I've had it, one said. With Jiang Jinluo not here, the silver gong is in charge. Brothers, follow me. We'll take Yang Chuanan with us. Su Qian, seeing no other way to stop them, smashed the case table with one palm. The sound was so loud it drew everyone's attention. The night watchmen, who were ready to leave the post house, suddenly turned back to look at him. Su Qian pointed at the silver gong, yelling angrily, I don't care if you're a silver gong. You think your rank means anything to me? Try to suppress me with your title. Will it work? Go ask Zhu if it worked on him. You're just making things worse. How do you expect the Inspector General to handle this? Even if we defeat the 3,000 Wei soldiers, can you ensure we'll hold the city? What if innocent civilians get caught in the crossfire? Will you take responsibility? Can you bear that responsibility? The silver gong puffed out his chest, glaring at Su Qian. You think you can bear it? Su Qian retorted loudly. At least my shoulders are stronger than yours. For a moment, no one could respond. A copper gong sneered at his outburst, but Su Qian's words left everyone in the room silent. Su Qian then laid out his plan. All of you will stay here and guard Yang Chuanan. He's a major criminal of the court. There can't be any slip-ups. Leave the outer city troops to me to delay. The crowd looked skeptical, their disbelief written all over their faces. Su Qian didn't bother to explain further. The Wei forces were at the gates. Their aim wasn't to breach the city. It was to pressure the Inspector General into releasing Yang Chuanan. That left room for negotiation. If you all charge over in a frenzy, dragging Yang Chuanan along provocatively, you'll only escalate the conflict, leaving both sides with no way to retreat. As he spoke, he gestured toward the general. Of course, I'm not the one who can talk the Wei troops down, but General Li can. Surely, General Li wouldn't want to make things so stiff that Yang Chuanan loses his chance to back down. Li Miaojin seemed to have anticipated this outcome. She said calmly, I'll do my best. She mentioned that the Inspector General would soon arrive. Li Miaojin and Su Qian each grabbed a swift horse and headed. Su glanced at Su Qian, riding alongside her. You're quite capable for a mere copper gong. Su Qian coughed. It's not about my abilities. The truth is, I'm Zhang Xuanfu's half-brother. Su immediately caught on. You're related to Zhang Xuanfu? No wonder you have so much authority. Li Miaojin twitched at the corner of her mouth. She wanted to remind her maid that nothing Su Qian said could be trusted. Everything he said was full of mischief. The reason he had so much authority was because of the trust and recognition he'd earned from the Wei Yuan. His position at the Yang. Naturally, this information came from within the Heaven and Earth Society. Number 2's intelligence had nothing to do with Li Miaojin. Su Qian and the general soon arrived at the southern gate. The local defense commander greeted them personally. The square-faced, burly commander seemed disappointed, asking, why hasn't the Inspector General arrived yet? Su Qian offered a brief explanation. The Inspector General is currently investigating a case at the Commander General's and can't make it here right now. General Li and I are here to buy some time. Standing atop the city wall, he looked out. There were 2 formations outside the city, the largest of which belonged to the Wei forces. Cavalry in the front, infantry behind. Su Qian, though halfway to achieving mind-body unity, still felt an instinct to avoid direct confrontation. When faced with this battle-hardened army, he didn't dare engage head-on. He reflected. To single-handedly fight across 3,000 miles, to stop an army of 1,000,000 with one sword. What kind of warrior could achieve such feats? Li Miaojin stood beside him, also observing. The Yunzhou troops are fierce, ready to cause trouble without fear of death. I came last night to intervene, because I feared the Inspector General would act rashly and push things beyond the point of no return. Su Qian nodded. Recognizing that Yunzhou's rampant banditry had fostered such reckless soldiers, veterans from long campaigns had an intimidating air. They typically followed only leaders who fought alongside them. Outsiders rarely commanded their loyalty, unlike soldiers in peaceful regions who valued their lives. Su Qian pointed to a spot and asked, "In that smaller formation over there, who do they belong to?" Li Miaojin looked a bit awkward. "They're my Swallow Knights." Su Qian shot her an annoyed look. "Even you have turned traitor?" Li Miaojin explained. "I did consider using them for leverage, but that's just a bad habit cultivated within the Yunzhou army." Su Qian asked cautiously, "What should we do now?" "Go out," Li Miaojin replied. To his surprise, Su Qian forced a laugh. "Can I not go?" Li Miaojin shot him a sidelong glance. "You're representing the Inspector General. Commander Su Huchen is hot-tempered and obstinate. If you want to ease the tension, you'll have to endure it." Su Qian tried to resist, but she cut him off. "Your reputation is at stake?" Li Miaojin laughed lightly. "Shall I accompany you? They might just end up cutting down a copper gong like you." Su Qian was speechless. These soldiers really don't play fair. Soon, the city gate opened from within, and the city defense commander escorted the two out. Su Qian glanced back from horseback. "Commander, why don't you come along with us?" The commander quickly pulled back. "It's too windy out here. What did you say?" "I can't hear a thing." As he spoke, he closed the city gate behind them. Su Qian silently started cursing. If not for General Li still being present, he'd have turned back to thrash that guy. At that moment, Li Miaojin waved her hand, and her Swallow Knights rushed toward them. With a hint of pride, Li Miaojin introduced her troops to Su Qian. "My Swallow Knights. The weakest among them is at the 9th grade refining level. There are 437 in total. 5 are peak refining level masters, 10 are adept in true energy refinement, and many are seasoned iron-hoofed warriors." Su Qian was truly stunned. 4 6th grade experts, 47th grade veterans? Oh my goodness, this woman is terrifying. Su Qian swallowed nervously. Such an army could rival any force in Yunzhou. Li Miaojin gave a modest nod. "They only came to Yunzhou because of me." Su Qian smirked. "How much clout do you have, exactly?" He realized he needed to re-evaluate her strength. Her influence in the martial world might be far deeper than he imagined. "General Li's connections in Jianghu are likely more extensive than I thought." Su Qian suddenly asked, "What cultivation level is Su Huchen?" Li Miaojin replied, "Peak level of refining the spirit." Su Qian was surprised. "That's not very high." Li Miaojin scoffed. "Wei Yuan is just an ordinary man, yet he commands 3 armies. Leading troops isn't about brute strength. High-level warriors might be able to take on hundreds or thousands alone, but they can't necessarily command 1,000 soldiers. With my abilities, 500 men is my limit, but Su Huchen can lead 3,000 to 5,000 troops. Into a battlefield confrontation, I'm bound to lose." This thought flashed through Su Qian's mind. Violence is aesthetics. War is art. 2 completely different concepts. Suddenly, Li Miaojin called out loudly, "Commander Su, come forward and speak." A figure emerged from the ranks. The leading general stood nearly 8 feet tall. His mount was noticeably larger than an ordinary horse. In his hand was a long halberd. Su Huchen's gaze was sharp, his chin freshly shaved. He slightly cupped his hands toward Li Miaojin. "General Li, so you're here to help us rescue the Commander General?" Li Miaojin shook her head. "Lord Yang is fine. Commander Su, you're being too impulsive. Do you know the consequences of your actions?" Su Huchen grinned. "At worst, I'll die. I owe my life to the Commander. If the court wants him dead, I'll stake my life on it." Su Qian abruptly asked, "How did you find out about this?" Su Huchen sneered at Su Qian. "Ah, one of Wei Yuan's lackeys." Su Qian's expression darkened. "You can insult me all you like, but don't talk about my boss." With a flick of his thumb, his black gold saber slid out of its sheath, a mere inch. Fixing his gaze on Su Huchen, he said sternly, "Commander Su, do not challenge the authority of the court. I came here with goodwill. If you don't cooperate, I could have already cut you down from your horse." But Su Huchen didn't even acknowledge him. He turned to Li Miaojin and said, "I want to see the Inspector General. This copper gong isn't worthy of speaking to me. A kid who's barely grown up, thinking this is the capital, where everyone bows to night watchmen." Su Qian said nothing. He simply turned his horse around. Under Li Miaojin's puzzled gaze, he began to ride off slowly on his mare. Su Huchen, growing impatient, called out again, "General Li, what's going on with the Commander General?" At that moment, Su Qian stopped. He flicked his left thumb. The blade emerged half an inch from the scabbard. With his right hand, he gripped the hilt. After a brief moment of gathering power, a piercing draw of the sword echoed in the air. From Su Huchen's perspective, the air seemed to distort. Something had clearly moved, and a fine crack appeared in the ground, stretching from Su Qian's feet to the front of the troops. It extended over 10 yards. The front ranks of the Qi army grew restless, and their horses seemed spooked. Su Huchen's eyes widened in disbelief. He really could have unhorsed me just now. Li Miaozhen stared at Su Qian in amazement. The sharpness of this strike. It was as swift as lightning. Even a 6th-grade bronze commander, or an iron-boned martial artist, couldn't have taken it head-on. Number 1 had once mentioned that Su Qian had defeated a Silver Gong before, and that Silver Gong was an expert in spiritual refinement. Even back then, he could strike down opponents above his level. Now, as a half-step into spiritual refinement, his talent was undeniable. How could Master Jinlian have overlooked him and chosen his cousin instead? Just how terrifying was his cousin's true strength? Su Qian sheathed his black gold saber, mounted his mare, and returned, forcing his exhausted body to maintain composure. In a calm tone, he said, "Commander Su, I am Su Qian, here to negotiate on behalf of the Inspector General." Su Huchen stood frozen, staring at the long trench beside him, stunned by the display of power. This yellow-haired youth before him wasn't someone to be taken lightly. For a moment, he felt a flicker of fear. After a few breaths, Su Huchen sighed and lowered his proud head. Bowing slightly to Su Qian, he said, "Sir, please speak." Su Huchen finally relented. Su Qian exhaled in relief, but his current state was terrible. He felt on the verge of collapse, like someone who hadn't slept in 72 hours, and then made to run a kilometer. Fortunately, his solid foundation from the refining essence stage gave him exceptional endurance and resilience. If it had been his past self, he might already be standing in line at the morgue. At least now, he had earned the other party's respect. They could have a proper discussion. Su Qian disliked confrontations that ended in violence. Wouldn't it be better if everyone just calmed down, sat down for some tea, and talked things through? Outwardly composed and unruffled, he called out in a clear voice, "Commander Su."